Today we're looking at 5 of my favourite practice tools and how to use them to get the most out of your practice time. Welcome to That Pedal Show. Dan here.
Mick here, hello.
Right, some fun stuff today. But first of all, thank you all for subscribing, and also a massive thank you to everyone that's gone to thatpedalshowstore.com and grabbed some merch and stuff that and help us support the show.
Yes, thatpedalshowstore.com. Yes.
Indeed.
Thank you.
Okay, right. We're going to be looking at 5 of my favourite practice tools, ranging from the super simple to a little bit more complicated. The prerequisites for these are they've got to be really quick to set up.
Yep.
Right? No messing around. They've got to be really fun. And they've got to get results. What these 5 things we're going to look at today is going to help you get the most out of your practice. Now, what we're not talking about is what to practice. Okay? That's a different thing. Me personally, I've got a really great guitar teacher, Mark Johns, a very dear friend of mine, and lives in Australia. And every couple of weeks we'll do a FaceTime thing on a Saturday morning. I've recently had a lesson with Mike Stern, which has been epic. But there are places like our mate Paul Davids and places like TrueFire. There's so much amazing content online.
Yeah, right.
So this is about once you've worked out what you want to practice.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Well, let's kick off with the simplest one. I think this is going to be really interesting. Everyone's used a metronome before, right? So what do you think of when you think of a metronome?
I think of 4 beats to the bar.
Yep.
Click, 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 click. And a really stern woman with half glasses hitting me with a ruler.
Yep. Playing scales.
Yeah, that's never happened, by the way, but it's just what I dream about. And then she turns into Dan. But yeah, tick, 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 tick.
Okay, so I thought that, I think most of us have thought about a metronome like that for a long time. I've found this trick with a metronome that I find incredibly useful. All right. And this is to do with developing your time feel, right? If you practice with a metronome, you're going to get better at time. That's just a given. But there's a way to develop your time feel with a metronome that's fascinating. And this is instead of having something like a drum machine. As a matter of fact, to develop your time feel in this way, I think can be more productive. Okay. So there are loads of free apps available for metronome, right? And you just need something super, super simple.
Is there one called Metronome?
As in a small gnome.
Yeah, who's very metro.
Who's on the metro? Yeah. I like that.
If that's not out there, please somebody invent it tomorrow.
Okay, so here we go. I've got this metronome set up here. You can, tap in, your tempo you want. What we want to do is go down, let's say 40 BPM. Really slow, okay? Right. If I was making that count 1 beat per beat, it would be 3, 4, okay?
Yeah.
That's how you normally use a metronome. The way I want to use it is I am going to use those beats to land where a snare would normally land when you're playing a groove.
The 2 and the 4.
The 2 and the 4. All right, so check this out. There's our beats, right? So now you've got to find where the 1 is. Boom, boom, boom. Okay? So I'm going to turn this up.
It's already grooving more.
It's already grooving, right? There's our metronome.
So I can hear the hats.
There you go. So now if I put this down and I just... And now, and just that's triplets. So, and I sped up there a little bit at the end.
Surprise, you're playing ahead of the beat.
There you go. So have a go at that. Just. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4.
And I'm playing behind.
1, 2, 3, 4. 1.
Really hard without the hi-hats.
Now, what's really cool about this is that you can play it straight, you can swing, you can get all your triplets and odd time things, but you've got to feel where the bass drum is going to be. You've got to feel where those hi-hats are going to be, and all you've got is that snare.
Yeah. So easier at faster tempo. Well, easy at mid tempos.
Yep.
Really tough slow.
So if we pull that back even further, let's go down to 33.
You're way ahead.
So the slower you go, the harder it is. And what I found, if I get up in the morning, I have a coffee, and I've got 5 minutes,
Yeah.
I'll sit at the kitchen table, guitar in my lap, that on the phone, and I'll just play. And I've already, after 3 or 4 weeks of that, of already feeling the difference. I think I said to you a few weeks ago, I said, man, I've never played a triplet right in my life. Because I'm listening to that and I'm going, yeah, and I played triplet, and I'm like, hang on, I'm nowhere near it. So I've had to force myself to just relax and sort of be aware.
Yeah, more prosaically, if you're put off by Dan playing complex stuff and talk of triplets and all the rest of it, it might be that you're at the point in your guitar journey where you're just learning to change chords.
Sure.
Cleanly and efficiently. This exercise is equally applicable to that.
Absolutely.
Takes a minute. God, it's so hard without the
isn't it?
Hi-hat.
It's really interesting. So, and the thing is, if you're doing that with a drum machine, all those spaces are filled in.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's really easy. But doing it like that, where it's just space and just the snare,
Yeah.
you suddenly get really aware of your time feel. So for something that will help. That will absolutely help. 5 minutes a day, whatever.
Yeah.
Sit down with the guitar, play along with that.
Yeah, try it now.
Brilliant.
Try set your metronome to 1 beat per beat, i.e. 4 beats in the bar, and then try and treat that metronome click as the 2 and the 4.
Cool, huh?
Yeah, interesting.
I really like that.
Yeah,
Cool.
I've literally never ever practiced with the metronome, so I have no idea how to do it.
Right.
I've never done it.
Yeah.
Maybe I should. Maybe I should.
So you have got a really great feel. I've said this before. Your sense of time is really good.
I play behind.
It's something, yeah, but it's constant. You've got a really good sense of time. Like your runs and everything are pretty much bang on.
Yeah, I can't play rock music for toffee though, because I always think rock music is on. And this is the next part of that discussion, is it? Where how do you play with that time? Well, you can't play with that time until you know the time.
Sure.
So maybe there's something I do naturally, but if I'd done more of that, I might be better equipped to play with it a bit more.
Sure, and move forward and back and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But that's a really fun little thing to do.
Fascinating.
Yeah. Okay, so that was number 1. Number 2 is another app we're going to have a look at. This is called iRealPro. Now, some of you might have seen this on the show before. It's something I've been using for a long time, and I just find it so helpful. So when I was studying jazz, there's a book that like the jazz musicians use called the Real book. And so this is called iRealPro. So it basically has all those jazz standards in there, but it's open source in that anyone, you can, edit, start tracks from scratch and upload it to the forum.
Yeah.
So you've got access to thousands and thousands of tunes.
Oh, well.
But what's really good about it, I've got this thing set up. It's just a blues currently in A minor, okay, with a sort of a bossa feel. So if you have swang over this, right, it's just an A minor blues, right? And then I'll hold it up and you can be able to see.
What's that F7 doing in there then?
That's the minor 6 going to the 5 chord.
So it's not just an A blues then?
No, it's an A minor blues.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll get to that in a second. So, all right. So if we just, at the moment I've got this Bluetoothed to another thing we'll get to in a second, okay? But here we go. Awesome. Okay, now what we're going to do, so that was very good, Mick. We're going to go to B flat now. Beautiful. What we're going to do now is change the instrumentation. You're going to hear nothing but bass.
Awesome.
All right. So I go in here. I've got all the instruments here. I'm going to pull the piano down, pull the drums down, reverb, turn the bass up. That's changed from the bossa nova feel.
Tell you what's interesting about this is, I want to play jazzy. Why is that? No, I can't play jazz for toffee, but I kind of want to. Maybe it's because of the string bass.
Yeah, it's got that, and also it's got. So there's also things like
we're talking about practice, so my brain is going. I must play some clever notes.
There's also a little thing here called embellished chords.
Oh, nice.
So it's playing all the extensions. But if I now turn the piano back up and turn the drums back up, and we'll go to a different feel. Great. So
it's really nice to play over, actually. What I was really struggling with the 2 and the 4 earlier, was now I've got a band.
Sure.
And I personally find that so much easier to play over.
Oh,
not good for discipline like that, but this is a different thing. All of a sudden, maybe there's the at least the potential for music.
Sure. Well, that's an exercise.
Yeah.
That kind of shows you where you are with what your perceived time thing is, and it's really revealing. This is, you can absolutely play music, but the great thing about it is that, so at the moment, if I'm working on, let's see, There Will Never Be Another You. So this is a tune I've been looking at for a while. Amazing tune. So have you seen The World According to Garp?
I have.
It's the theme song from that. It's called There Will Never Be Another You. Amazing song. And so, yeah, I've just been checking that out. So if you hit play on that for us.
Okay.
get the idea. So I'm seeing the chords as it goes along, and doing the changes and stuff. And
yeah. Which when the chords are in my world anyway, relatively complex like that.
sure,
It's good to see them.
absolutely.
Is Highway to Hell on there by any chance?
It probably is, the Boss Nova version of Highway to Hell. So that's an app that I find invaluable because then I can change the key, change the instrumentation, all that stuff.
I mean, the straight up value of the chords alone. Is there any way of seeing what those chords actually are?
Yeah, totally.
So you can go, I don't know what that chord is. Can I see it, please?
Yeah, so you can turn the chord diagrams on. There you go. So you can actually see.
You can actually see the fingerings for the chords. Yeah. That's the bit that would be totally invaluable to me.
Yeah, that's
wonderful. I don't know what those chords are.
Sure. Yeah, so that's, when you're really getting into it, it's wonderful.
And you don't have to play jazz.
You don't have to play jazz. No, absolutely.
Just will come as a relief to many of you probably, but.
Yeah. Okay, right, so that's number 2. Number 3, going to have a look at the amp that we've been using up to this point. And this is Yamaha THR10. This is the second version of that amplifier. Like most of us, I'm in my practice area is this tiny little room.
Yep.
And getting my mattress in there and turning up, just not an option.
Not going to happen, yeah.
So when I mentioned before about anything that I do at practice, it's got to be fun and it's got to be quick, right? The Yamaha amp is this little stereo amplifier. And when I turn it on and I plug it in, there's stereo reverbs and delays in there. So if I turn I don't have any delay on here. I'll turn the reverb up, and so you can hear. We've got this actually mic'd up in stereo, but just have a play of this. I'll turn the reverb right up.
I was saying earlier, as we were just plugging everything in and making it work, I just don't know why you would use anything else at home. Yeah. It is such a satisfying, easy to play, non-confrontational.
Absolutely.
So it's all very well for the nice stuff, makes me want to,
play nice things.
If I want to rock out a bit.
Yeah.
It's got other modes and stuff.
Loads. Too many.
Great. So Dan's going to switch from a clean sound to a dirty sound maybe in the amp. Sorry, we're not showing you what's happening on the amp. What are you going from, Dan?
I'm just going from clean, then I'll go to a lead sound.
Clean to lead.
Yep. So
it's so satisfying to play.
Yeah, it's really easy to play. I mean, it's not, we're not suddenly going to go, man, that's amazing. I don't need a mattress anymore.
No. There's very little feedback. No, there's no,
absolutely.
And it, but there's no fight. It's super easy to play. Yeah. And it sounds blimmin' great.
And when you're in that small room, that stereo effect, it gives you a sense of space, which is really lovely. The other thing about it is that it's got Bluetooth. So you know, the tracks we were hearing before were Bluetoothed directly into that. So, you know, when I hit this, so
What's really cool, it's a completely separate channel as well. So if you've got overdrive on your guitar,
you can control that.
That stays totally separate.
Totally.
So it sounds clean and nice. This will seem very entry level for most people, but it wasn't that long ago in our lifetime where you'd be tripping over loads of cables, having a real problem with making that come out of that.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's just not an issue. Now, it's fair to say that Yamaha aren't the only company that do this kind of thing.
Totally.
Basically, all the big brands do one, don't they?
All the big brands.
Line 6, Fender, Black Star, take your pick.
Yeah, blah, blah, blah. I think the old Yamaha THR that I had for ages, still have actually, is really great. And this is the updated version with the Bluetooth. It's also rechargeable.
Yeah.
So I can plug the power out and it'll, you know, take it with me.
It's amazing, isn't it?
It's really, really great.
I can remember when they first came out in the first version of it, and it was a redefining of the guitar amp.
Sure.
And big part of the motivation was you can have it at home.
Yeah.
And it doesn't look, you know, it's not a big ugly box.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you can have it in your sitting room. Not only that, you can just play your blinking iTunes through it.
Yeah.
So it'll work as a stereo as well.
One of the things with practicing, all my favorite musicians grew up playing along to records. You know, grab your iTunes, whatever, and just Bluetooth into that and play along.
Yeah.
And it's,
Yeah.
really, really great. And of course, you know, with a sound like that, it's fun. You know, this isn't, you know, we're not into creating tone mastery here. This is about playing for enjoyment and being able to improve.
And actually, it is more enjoyable than fighting with a loud, any kind of amp, whether it's digital modeling or valve or whatever it is. You know, but
Echoing
especially
volumes.
if you're trying to play that slightly aggressive valve amp at home, even if it's only 5 watts, you know, you're probably spending most of your time going, oh God, am I upsetting anybody?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, fun.
It's really cool.
Yeah, really cool. Okay, that was number 3. Number 4. This, you'll have seen these before on loads of pedal boards, loopers. Sort of almost to a point now where they're ubiquitous. They're fun and you make really great noises. One of the really cool things with loopers is when you're learning something, you know, let's say, for example, in that song, There'll Never Be Another You, right? We've got these changes that go from G sharp major 7 to this chord here. And I heard that chord and just went, whoa, it's so beautiful. And that is a dominant 7 sharp 11 chord.
Yeah.
Right. So what all that means is a dominant 7 with a sharp 4. And you can use that instead of a minor 4 chord. So let's say I'm a B flat, right? And sometimes you hear this to that. Well, instead of that minor 4, I can go down to the minor 7 and play that dominant 7 sharp 11. Anyway, I heard that chord, right? And my mind went, loved it. And so I grabbed a looper and I just played. I've just set up a little loop with that chord and then I just play over the top of that chord. And, you know, so that's just like a melodic minor thing over that particular chord, which is actually, when Simon Jarrett was here, that's one of the things that he was talking about.
Oh, he was talking about that?
Yeah.
It's interesting because a lot of people would consider a looper as, you know, a very strict 4-bar phrase or whatever, and you'd put down your rhythm, and then you play some lead over the top. But actually, it can get a lot more granular than that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it just, so that sound is there. If there are things that you want to work on, I mean, it might just be something as simple as just playing over 2 chords, right? And keeping those chords in mind when you're playing. So it might just be... So I'm literally going between D and A and D and A.
Yeah.
Right? But I just found, as awesome as loopers are for the layering and all that sort of stuff, just to get an idea and work on chords and chord changes and that sort of stuff, they're fantastic.
Yeah.
A lot of us have them on our boards already. So I just set my board at home with where my looper is, and I can, play along with that and use the sounds that I've got in the looper. But just as a learning tool, they're absolutely brilliant.
I would imagine a good practical use for that exact purpose would be, probably a lot of us spend an inordinate amount of time trying to work out tricky bits in solos.
Yeah, right.
And if it's a particular technique you're working on, like a faster bit of picking, or even if it's just a cluster of notes that you're not used to playing, your timing can really go all to pieces. So as a kind of halfway house between using the metronome, which is, kind of leaves you a bit cold and sparse, you don't really know what's happening, and the full-on iRealPro version, you just play your own rhythm chords over the solo and play over the top of that, and that's going to absolutely guarantee to keep you in whatever time you were good enough to play it in the first place.
Totally.
Yeah.
Loopers. Brilliant for that stuff.
So obviously that's not new. Been around a while.
It's been around a little while, yeah. So this is, it's the Ditto Plus. It's really cool. You've got you can, once you've created a loop, the difference between that and the normal Ditto is that you can store those loops.
Yeah, I only know that one.
Yeah.
And I'm too scared to use anything with a screen on it. So
sure. With what we're doing, that is all you need.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The Ditto Plus is really great if you've created a loop that you want to keep, and you can, you've got all these different store places.
Yeah.
But yeah, really cool.
Nice.
Okay, so the last one I wanted to show you, and this has been, a lot of people use this, but the reason that I use it might be a bit different. It might not be that obvious.
Is it drugs?
It's, on top of the drugs.
We just like to say we don't condone the use of drugs in any way, shape or form.
No. We don't judge, but we don't condone.
There's a teaspoon in the kitchen.
I know. Okay. By now everyone's seen these, the Boss Waza Air headphones. You plug this into your guitar, you put these on, and hey presto, you've got sound in your headphones.
But there's no wire, mister. What magic is this?
And they sound fine. There is...
I think they sound better than fine.
Sorry,
I think they sound really good.
They do sound really good,
It's basically that in your ears, isn't it?
It's exactly that in your ears.
And then some.
And that, yeah, sure. And there's a really clever app that goes with it, and it can do all manner of things. It's not the sound that I use these for. It's that one of my pet peeves when someone records themselves on their phone playing something, and what I hear is this.
That was my number one criticism of playing with that, is that I can hear too much of this.
Right. Okay. When
the sound of the pick on
the sound of the pick, the acoustic sound of the guitar.
For all the pedants out there, we do know that a considerable number of classic recordings were recorded with a mic on the amp
And
and a mic on here.
Yeah.
So we're not saying it's bad per se. It's just
right. What these headphones do is they isolate this sound. So what you're hearing is what comes out of the pickups through this.
Not only do they isolate, but you can, with due care and attention to personal safety, blast your flipping head off and not bother the person next to you.
Well, I get up at 6 o'clock in the morning and I have half an hour to do something. And at that time, I can make zero noise. So this isn't an option at 6 in the morning. You know what I mean? However, these are. Of course, I can Bluetooth everything to these and play along with that at the same time. But the best thing about these is that isolation. I mean, just so that you can experience for yourself.
I've used them.
Okay.
I have, but I'll do it anyway. Now, they're really great. This is a bit like cooking on the radio, because unfortunately, the best thing about these headphones is they sound really cool. The worst thing about them is you cannot output the sound.
No.
At all.
No.
So you can't go from your guitar into here and then out to an amp.
You can't.
So you can't hear it. So so here we are cooking on the radio. Can't hear a thing, Dan. Do I have to turn them on? Yeah. No, that won't work.
Okay. Stop 1 second.
That sounds like an AC30 cranked.
Plug your guitar in. Keep playing, keep playing. So,
Far out.
right?
Infinitely more satisfying than that, if I'm honest.
Sure.
Because you're totally engulfed in it.
Sure. For me, when I got the long bottom, and I had, I didn't really have an opportunity.
Sounds like a tropical disease. Sorry, Carl.
But I hadn't had the opportunity yet to really turn up and give it any welly. But I found out so much about that guitar by using these. But the way the pickups, but how dynamic they were, it was wonderful, which I wouldn't have been able to sort out if I was just playing really quietly to one of these at home.
Yeah.
So, and I think that's something about these headphones that a lot of people have missed. It's that isolation.
Boss Waza earphones.
Yeah.
Headphones.
Yeah.
Boss Waza.
Yeah. And like I said, you can, it's Bluetooth, you play music through it, grab the iPad. So 6 o'clock most mornings, I'm on iRealPro, I've got these on, and I'm just playing. Fantastic.
How do you find that then translates to your experience when you come in here and, make noise?
There is no substitute for being in front of... If you're a gigging musician and you gig at a certain volume...
This gig you talk about.
Yeah, right. But there's no substitute for actually rehearsing at the volume, understanding how the guitar reacts at volume. It's a different thing.
It is a completely different thing.
But having that isolation so that all I'm hearing as the output of this is one step closer to, understanding how the guitar reacts without hearing because, our guitars, they're acoustic instruments first, right? And they're loud.
This one especially.
Yeah, there you go.
It is an acoustic instrument.
So when you're playing quiet, that's always going to be a thing. And I think when a lot of people are practicing at home and they've got things really quiet and they get to the gig and everything is so wildly different. There is no substitute for the real thing. That just gets me a step in the right direction.
And more than that, I think that's more satisfying in a low volume environment than that.
Totally.
By some margin.
Yeah. The Yamaha thing is really great. If I'm sat in my room...
Sorry, just to qualify that, by that I meant a loud valve amp. I didn't mean the Yamaha thing.
Sure, right. Yeah, it's horses for courses, right? If I'm sat in my room and I can make a little bit of noise, it's just so easy to go, boop, bang, plug into that thing and, really wonderful. But I don't have any option really early than to throw those things on, and they're really great. There you go.
Nice.
My 5 favourite practicing tools for the moment.
Hooray.
Yeah.
Who wouldn't get better after using all those, Dan?
Well, you're looking at him. It's a journey, Mick. It's a journey.
You knock him down.
Brilliant. Well, there we go. Hope you enjoyed that. Let us know what you think. Join us for VCQ actually on Monday, and we can have a chat about your favourite practice tools. That'd be great.
Indeed, it will.
Yeah. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't already subscribed. Also, a massive thank you to our preferred retailers in the UK and Europe is
Anderson's Music of Guildford in Surrey.
And our dear friends in Australia.
Pedal Empire of Brisbane, Queensland.
Also, there are links in the description box below.
Yep, to Sweetwater in the US. If you buy stuff from Sweetwater, we get a kickback and it helps us greatly with funding this show.
Indeed. And a massive thank you to our patrons on Patreon.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks so much for your support. And of course, massive thank you to everyone that's gone to thatpedalshowstore.com and grabbed merch, t-shirts and picks and hats and
pedals,
strings
and
pedals
journals,
and
pencils.
There.
Yeah.
Yeah, wonderful.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Have a fantastic day. We'll see you on Monday for VCQ. Cheers, everyone. Bye.
Bye.